So what we want to do today, we have some awesome participants. We are being joined by Stefan van Werf from Bisner. He's the CEO of Bisner. We'll speak about Bisner in just a moment. And we're speaking to Wouter Kok from bGrid. And these are two partners that we have that are really shaking the space. And they're doing it in really unique ways. So we want to bring that information to the forefront. But what we thought we would do is start this session by just giving a little bit of context about the partner network, how it works, and what it's all about, what we're trying to actually deliver as far as impact is concerned. Because it's one thing, I always say, to have partnership where you put logos on each other's websites is nice, and yeah, that's great. But what we believe partnership is all about is sinking our teeth into tangible, really important topics, really important projects, and doing those things together. So we'll just speak a little bit about the partner network, and then Elizabeth will join, and she's going to help with the discussion with Stefan and Wouter, which is really exciting to have her back online. It's been a while. She's been off doing keynotes and jet setting and research projects, and has a lot to say herself. So a full event, and we always are booking about 45 minutes for these, just to keep it short and concise. But let's go. So as you all know, founded in science, refined by practice, constantly optimized by our network of experts. That's what we say is our tagline for a Smart Building Collective. An important part of that from a partner perspective is doing research together. Using these solutions to understand smart better, but understand, more importantly, the future of real estate, the future of work, the future of sustainability, making sure that we're diving deep into all of those topics with these partners. Let me make sure that I can move my slides. And the Smart Building Collective is really here to support people and organizations to navigate the world of smart buildings and smart cities, to start, improve, optimize, evaluate, and promote approach and strategy. So, what we're seeing is these smart solutions have been at it for 6-7 years, some of them, and it's now, how do we unpack the next episode? What is coming in the future? How can we innovate together? What are we learning from the market? What are we learning from other solutions? We've certified a lot of buildings, and not a single one of them is the same. So that speaks to the need for custom approach and working in a collaborative way. So the SPC methodology helps partners to unpack where revenue comes from and hopefully get more revenue out of it. And then we work together to share at our events, just like today, share expertise through our SPC online platform and through other ways, case studies, press releases, white papers, these types of things. We're starting to really see that from all of the information that's being gathered from the community, we can start to really gain market insights, which is really interesting, where we can see how smart building is different across the globe, in different regions, in different areas, and that's really exciting. And then branding, right? If we know what's going on in your solution, and we know what's going on in these solutions, we can really help tell the story of what they're doing, and that helps us do some matchmaking. So how do we do that? We have a solution certification, which both of these companies have just completed, which congratulations to them. And the solution certification goes, again, beyond that badge, right? It's not about just saying, oh, Bisner is solution certified. The moment that we know what's going on in Bisner's solutions and in bGrid solutions, we can better support innovation, we can better support matchmaking, we can better help move the bottom line. So the solution certification really allows us to know more about our partner. Only when we kind of dive into their details of the solution can we really know what and how they do what they do, and then support them with innovation and making sure that people are getting the best out of that solution. With additional knowledge, we can more easily facilitate matchmaking. So when we certify buildings, we see all their gaps, we see all their challenges and their opportunities. And right away, we can do meaningful matchmaking, where we can say, this solution is really going to meet your need. So that's really an important part. And then the matchmaking isn't only about two buildings, but it's also to each other, right? I think solutions and smart buildings are becoming much more of a holistic scope. And I think that it's Bisner, and Stefan is going to speak to us in a minute about, what is real integration? Because there's a lot being said about integration and APIs, but what does it mean to actually have it like fully integrated? So helping that process. So we use that solution certification as well as the building certification to really help buildings and solutions find each other, solutions to solutions, create market awareness for these, and buildings and solutions. Once we know what's going on in buildings and in solutions, we can really help research projects, allow academics to come into the ecosystem and promote research projects and dive into that data. And one of the cool things that we're doing now with the building certification is we're backwards engineering the certification to see how each technology is impacting the building. And this allows us to really see that buildings are either getting the most out of a Bisner solution or a bGrid solution, or there's still area for improvement. And that's really exciting, because then we can actually help both buildings and solutions get more out of each other. And I think in the end, that's what it's all about. So we're going to speak to two guys today. We're going to speak to Wouter Kok from bGrid, who again just they got their solution certified, which is really exciting. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to be speaking to Stefan van der Werf, CEO from Bisner. I'm going to go and look now at who we're going to speak to first. As we said, it's a new platform. It's a new solution. So we need to see that they are, which one is online. And now I've lost my screen. There we are. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to bring Wouter Kok onto stage first. And we're going to talk about some really interesting things. There he is. And here's Elizabeth joining me as well. Wouter, can you hear us? I think you're on mute and we don't see your pretty face yet.
Here we go.
There he is. How are you
Sorry
doing?
for the messy backgrounds. I still have to figure out how to change my background, but
yeah, I don't think it works that way.
But you'll have to accept me for it.
Yeah, that's okay. No, we're learning about this platform ourselves, right? So SBC Online is completely new. It really is giving us a nice opportunity to kind of go live all the time and have these kinds of conversations. But yeah, nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting.
Yeah.
Good morning.
What we want to do first is we want to first talk to you a bit about bGrid. Can you just give an introduction on what you guys are doing and how's it going?
Yeah, in 2 minutes, right?
2 minutes, exactly.
Yeah, no. So when we started, and that's still what we're doing, we set out to change real estate in that sense a bit more to what we're used from a smartphone, right? Where say the current practice, I guess, still today in real estate is that you ask for a client brief, you design something according to that brief, and then you build it, and then you're typically stuck for it, and like the whole process just to deliver it already takes like 6-7 years, right? Where the world we live and work in evolves so much faster, and not only requires a shorter development process in that sense, but also requires that real estate keeps adapting. So we try to make a building smart, very similar to the way you make a phone smart, when we had the first smartphones. So we introduce high quality hardware with an open operating system that just generates lots of data and functionalities within and from the building. And then we open that up to other organizations like Bisner, and we have today 54 different applications that connect to our infrastructure. And in that infrastructure that we provide, we can sense everything in the space, we can control everything and localize everything and provide all these functionalities to the purpose of connecting these third-party applications. And that really delivers real estate that keeps evolving and adapting, and where you're free to choose the application, and where you no longer need to ask at day one, okay, you maybe say you want a smart building, but what do you want to do with it? The use cases in that sense that you're going to do in our structure are meant to be evolving and adapting, and you don't need to decide that at day one. Actually, we don't even need to know. We just make the building smart, and you can, just like with a smartphone, choose your use cases, your applications, adapt them. If you see that Bisner has some new innovative use cases and you want to switch to Bisner, for example, that's feasible. But we, very similar to iOS and Android, also continuously bring innovations to our clients. And we actually bring them, and that's maybe a good example of what we actually do. We bring them to all our clients. So this year we released people counting to all our clients. So also the sites that had already been live for like 5-6 years that never even asked for people counting. Then all of a sudden, they were able to count how many people there were in every space and how many desks they were occupied. And I think that is really what you want a smart building to be, right? You don't have to move to a new space or renovate to add these kind of functionalities. It's just a software update that you run to your building. That's what we do.
Yeah, always evolving, always changing.
Yeah,
that's the idea. Yeah.
Well, and I kind of love what you said. We wanted to change real estate, and I think that's what a lot of us are wanting to do. That urge to we can do better, so we will do better. And I think that's maybe in a little bit of opposition to this idea that the technology is not there yet. And what do you think, Wouter?
Well, I think technology is never there yet, in the sense that technology by nature just keeps evolving. So, you can always identify use cases or what have you that do not maybe exist yet as proven technology. What you need to do is to tap into something that indeed, like Nicholas said, will keep evolving, that you don't buy a current state and accept that is what you'll have for 10, 15 years, which in reality is still the majority of all, building technology works that way, right? You buy something and that's what you have. Yeah, that has to change. Otherwise, we can change real estate, right? We change something and then we come back 15 years later to change it again. Yeah, that's not feasible anymore. No.
Absolutely. And we just did something really exciting, right? We co-standed, I guess, at Expo Real. And we see this need for educating the market, right? Like, what is a smart building? How does a smart building work? How does it evolve? How is it constantly changing? What is your vision for how that's going to go in the future from a trade show perspective? What we want to do is open it up to our partners on SPC Online and everybody who is a part of this.
So I think currently there are like two paths in real estate in terms of technology, right? So you've got the big conglomerates that will sell you that they can do anything and it's like a one-stop shop, right? And then you have companies like ourselves and Bisner and all the others that are in this space, that are niche players that focus on one part and to really be like one of the best in the world in what you do. And then connect with others to keep evolving, but in that sense also become exchangeable in the structure of real estate, right? Like where, just to name an example, not that that's just the only one that works that way, but like if you have a lot of Siemens technology in your building, you for many questions and requests that you have to work with Siemens, right? And it's not that I'm trying to bash Siemens here, but the thing is that when it works like that, there is very little push to innovate and really excel for providers like that because you're locked in. In our structure, we have to continuously evolve and bring new partners, new innovations, new use cases, listen to our clients, and be really fast and agile about it, because otherwise we're just going to get replaced, by something that is newer, or we become obsolete, and that creates a dynamic that is just vastly different. And this is one of these things that we try to educate at Expo Real, where of course there's you do have to battle with the huge tents of those kind of conglomerates. But I do think we managed to attract people, and I think, hey, so because we call it the Smart Building Hub, but what is this, right? And who are these people? Who are these companies? And what makes are you all have the same shareholder, or are you all part of the same conglomerate? No, we're just partners that all work together, and we all specialize in something, and we're very happy to involve others for the rest.
Yeah,
I think that's a great intro, and you've got it. I'm kicking you out for a minute.
You kicked me out for a minute.
I think that's a great intro into talking about the solution certification, because there's different ways that come into here. We decided to do the solution certification actually because buildings wanted to know what the technology could do and how it would contribute to the certification. So that's actually what pushed us over the edge, because we were kind of forced to by our smart buildings. And then we said, oh, this is an amazing tool for also finding technologies that work really well together, right? So, but maybe it's good to hear, we know what we use it for. What do you use a solution certification for? And
well, it helps us, in conversation with our clients. It does give some external reference to what you're doing, and that you're, into the intelligent opinion of someone, because many people have opinions, right? But from a certification, someone with some intelligence and legitimacy to do so has said that, okay, this solution actually, makes sense in some way. And that does help, right? And I think that not just for us, but in the broader space, this is very important, because it also shows that in a broader sense, there is some maturity in the market coming when it comes to smart building, right?
Yeah.
So I think
and also integration, right? This is something that's in the last couple of years has become much more open, I would say. And you guys are highly integrated, as you said. You work with a lot of different technology companies. Maybe it's good just to explain, because this, I think there's a bit of knowledge that needs to be shared with, putting a bunch of technologies together because you decided what you wanted for your smart building versus technologies that work together constantly. Can you talk about truly integrating versus maybe being thrown together?
So you do have to realize you asked a question. You asked a question to an engineer. But yeah, so truly integrating, that is not something that you do overnight, to be honest, right? So you have the easier integrations and functionalities. We of course, most of the partners that we have integrate with our API, but that is, there's just so much to words there, huh? Like integrating connecting to somebody's API in itself doesn't tell you anything what they actually do, right? And if you take the example of Bisner, to really get a smooth process where if you open a Bisner app, they'll search for our iBeacons, which they have already synchronized in the background of their application in the cloud, such that they know, okay, if we see these beacons, we're most likely to be here, and that they then connect to our API to understand, okay, what can I do in these locations in terms of controls? What are the conditions? Understand also, for example, the geometry of the building that relates to it and the metadata of the space, and making good use of that, say, if you search for a meeting room, that Bisner helps you also identify, okay, but which rooms are actually to your vicinity and which ones are booked, but maybe not actually occupied. Yeah, those kind of processes are not things that you build in a couple of weeks of integrating. And to get a good performance out of that, that's not an easy thing. And I think in the space that we're in, what makes this successful is exactly the point that I made before, that if bGrid and Bisner in a project fail to deliver a good functionality like that, one of us is going to get replaced.
And
that works.
who
So
usually gets replaced, in your opinion? What's
sorry?
in your experience, who gets replaced? What's the hair that breaks the camel's back usually?
So we have never had the situation where an application would get replaced because we couldn't get it to work on an integration level, because both sides understand that is like the first hurdle, right? If it doesn't work to begin with, or the user experience is really crappy, yeah, then you're lost, right? So, and there is a big push. These are all, well, most of them are relatively small companies, right, that are fast. What does happen, of course, but that's that's a different topic actually, is you do need to make sure that there's more to adapting to smart building and hybrid working and what have you than just technology, right? You do also need to take care of the more like organizational change. So if you introduce tools or technology to an organization and just expect everyone to adopt them, yeah, that also doesn't go well, right? So we've had situations there where there is just a mismatch in that, and then in the end, yeah, the examples that we had, the application got replaced by something else. Yeah.
Okay, that was a very political and classy answer to that question.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really want to bring Stefan on now, and if you can stay, and we can do a little bit of question at the end, because
Yeah,
I
no problem. Yeah, of course.
But I really loved how you talked about that and kind of building the brain before you refine the body of the building. So
Yeah, that's a nice analogy. Yeah.
yeah. So if you can, Stefan, if you can share your screen and come on audio, and Wouter, you can hide your screen and take off audio for a minute, or if maybe.
So how do I do that?
Let's see. Oh, maybe I can do it. All right.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, there we go.
It's working.
Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Stefan. So
You kicked out Wouter.
I did. I kicked him
Oh,
out.
you did.
Right?
Sorry.
That's the thing about experimenting with new technology, and we're just getting started with our first
Now
video.
you see who was replaced, right?
Yeah. But he's still online. We're gonna kind of circle back with both of you, and I was sort of itching because I really wanted your take on this as well. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about you guys and what you're doing, that 2-minute introduction, and then I'd love to hear sort of your take on some of the things that Wouter and I were talking about.
Yeah, of course. I'm Stefan from Bisner. We have developed over the last 6 years. We call it the one in app for smart building. So it consists of 3 products. One is workplace, community, and back office. And with the total suite of features that we provide in our platform, you can manage completely your multi-tenant building and smart building. And I think more importantly, over the last 2 to 3 years, we have worked a lot on integrating and partnering up with a lot of other interesting companies. And we see ourselves more and more as like middleware, as a connector for the builder, for the building, to make it all alive in the end.
Yeah. And so what was your take on some of the things that we were talking about, the integration and the, connecting different partners, and that's because what we're seeing is that there's this huge trend at the moment for buildings that are just getting started to do the smart at the end, to plan the building, to put everything together and say, oh, later in the stages, we're going to make it smart.
Yeah.
And I think that's just trying to figure out where it goes. We also see some buildings where they're saying, we're going to begin with smart, and first we do this, and then we decide the rest, which is very rare. I don't know if you have much experience with this.
Well, my view on it is, I think is that we all have a common goal. We want to make better workplaces and better buildings at the end for people to become more productive and more happy in the work life. So we all have the same shared goal in this, and I think integrations are really necessary nowadays to provide a complete experience and a good tenant journey for the end user. So if we all share this, I think even with the smart building certificate included, it shows partly the roadmap that a building can go through to fit all these different angles of smart building. So that's our view on it. And what I believe mostly is Wouter called it niche players, and I think that's just really true. But I think an element of a niche player is that he's really passionate and really focused on his part of the job. And I think by doing that, you will ultimately become very good at it, because you will become the expert. And collectively together, I think we provide a nice suite to make a real smart building in the end.
Yeah, well, when we started doing solution certifications, I think one of the first few solutions, we realized that two of the partners were perfectly matched. So they didn't compete on anything that they did, but they filled each other's they completed the certification. So these two partners could offer a platinum building to a building. And I think that's really interesting, because there are certain buildings and certain stakeholders who want that box, can I buy a platinum smart building? And the complexity in that, and maybe not understanding. But so how do you guys, I asked Wouter this, but how do you use your solution certification, and how does that, what do you use it for?
So, of course, it helps to show our customers or potential customers how we fit into a vision of smart building. So what will be our role? But I think more clearly it shows also the total landscape of what it can be in terms of smart buildings. And I think that is important, because everybody is still on a big journey to discover what is the next smartest building, right? And I think this shows some perspective from different angles, how you can create this smart building with the goal eventually, I think, of building a good experience for your end user, because that's where we do it for. I think happy tenants will lead to long lasting tenants at the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke to a scientist recently, and we were talking about that idea of the human brain and a smart building, right? Where we say the human brain is so efficient that when a task is being done by something else, we don't worry about it so much. So that idea of a smart building that we're not involved with can actually be a bad thing, where we're kind of ignoring it a little bit. So that involvement with the smart building is really, we say, oh, that's done, just like our phones. Nobody knows any telephone numbers anymore. Nobody can get from A to B anymore without their navigation system. So I think, can you say something, and I would love Wouter's opinion on this as well, but can you say something about just being involved with the smartness and not having a smart building that just works, or that level of kind of being integrated with the smart building in a way, the human part of it.
Human part, yeah. So, well, how I see it is, we technology is everywhere and it's evolving. Your house become more smart. You can control your lights, opening doors, and why are we doing this at the end, right? I think to at the end, I believe to have individuals, bring them in control again over how they want to work, when they want to work, where they want to work, and give them the freedom to control the environments and feel pleasant in a space. And we try to make technology that is visible. We have an app that's what it is, right? But also invisible. It should just be so user friendly that you can, if you want to change the temperature or the light, the sensors are in the building. You can see them, but nobody is really aware of it. How the whole tech, what's behind the building, is doing, and I think that's a good thing. You just want to change the light, change the temperature, so that you are happy for your workspace again, right? So I think that is our goal. So how do we integrate all of these different technologies into one simple and easy to use app? And it's, of course, it's like what bGrid is offering on building management for sensors, lighting, temperature. But we do the same with parking, with access control, with the infrastructure of internet, all together clustered to one app where you can manage that as an end user.
So kind of that technology that you didn't know you needed until you had it, or desperately needed until you had it, right?
Yeah, and you always need it at a moment you don't think about it, right?
Yeah. I'm going to invite Wouter back to just as quickly and brutally as I did when I kicked him out. Wouter, can you join again? Let's see.
That's right.
Yes, here we are again.
Here we are. Wouter, do you have anything to add from what Stefan was just talking about? And
So actually, I think that he phrased it very well. We already mentioned how we do it. Maybe so, like one comment on like the combination of the human and the technical part is that when we started, there was a lot, almost like dreaming, about these sort of visionary use cases and customer journeys or what have you. Where we see today that a lot is actually very pragmatic. It's if you look on the day-to-day utilization of smart buildings, and we did a tour on that in September with some potential clients, and we had our partners and also Bisner, but also our clients and facility managers share what they did. And a lot is really down to earth. It is really on just trying to understand, okay, so how do we actually utilize the building? Okay. And for example, helping with your landlord to understand where are these comfort issues coming from, for example, right? We recently ran software in a building to validate that the climate control in the rooms was working. And we did obviously identify that a lot was not working, but we could also very quickly identify, what really was the problem, right? And it proved to be a software configuration problem in the BMS that could quite easily be solved. It is also just really on those levels, right? So sometimes we dream about this like very futuristic real estate, where in all honesty, the reality is that real estate today is, there is a big gap in how it actually performs versus, how people talk about it. So a lot of the day-to-day is also just getting people to connect the technology to the daily struggles of the people that run these buildings.
Well, and as a researcher, I see that probably not at the scale that you guys do, but I have never gone into a building that's then wired for my experiments and has amazing technology in it, where we haven't found something wrong with the building. That first, you almost have to build that into the research study to fix what's going on with the building before you can start studying. Am I right in thinking that that's quite normal in that first stage of a refurb, or have I just been a bit unlucky?
Yeah, so you complimented me before for being very political in my answer. So this is a very delicate topic that you're tapping into, right? So how do buildings actually perform? Well, maybe the most polite thing is to say that actually all buildings perform significantly below what they're designed to do. Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Which is why a lot of solutions are now saying, we'll do some analysis and show you how you can save more money than
yeah, and then good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because the problem obviously is that the solution is not simple, right? So that's the problem. If it was simple, somebody would have fixed it. But the problem is that every building is a prototype of its own, both in how the systems have been designed, obviously how they've been built, how they've been built differently than what's on paper, and then on the software that runs these systems and how they've configured. That was done at day one by someone, then like 3 or 4 people changed it over the course of 5 years, didn't document that properly, and it was not changed like how it was meant to work. Yeah, then try and fix that and get someone in that building with the knowledge and expertise, like old school, to go through it. Yeah, the people that can do that, they don't do that, right? They design the buildings and bring them online. That's far more profitable to do than try and fix these problems. So what we're looking at now is, with all the data that we have, can we find ways to fix problems fully automatedly, such that you don't need expertise about how the system is performing and where the flaw in the system is. We're just sort of like looking, let's say, traditionally on what they call input and output, right? You can play with a system without actually understanding how it works and still get it to do what you want, right? That's basically how most people work with a computer. So you don't understand the details of it, but you do get out of it what you want by just using it, right? So we can do that the same with smart buildings, that you can fix these kind of climate problems and save energy without having to need that expertise that's just not available.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, and I think that the two of you combined kind of what you were saying about, fixing these problems, not having to dive into something that you don't necessarily understand, and it's very complex, so it makes sense. But also what Stefan was saying about working with technology that's just helping you and being a part of your. So maybe that's exactly what we need as human beings for putting this together and kind of jumping taking that leap to making buildings smarter, faster, and inevitably better. But well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming. I loved talking to you. I'm so happy that your solution certification went through. We love having it to show buildings and partners what part of the puzzle you guys contribute to and how you can then work together with other partners. We're happy that you also have that solution certification to show what you do. But I think even more so, it's wonderful to see how well your two companies work with other companies and that integration that we really need to make things. And Wouter, as an engineer, thank you so much for speaking plainly that we can all understand. But to make things helpful and simple and easy. So thank you both for being a part of this. Really
our pleasure.
And congratulations on all your successes, and I look forward to everything we do together.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you. I'm going to sign off now. And I might brutally kick you out again. Bye.
Bye.
All right, we're just going to close up. Nicholas, do you want to join us again for a minute to close, or are you happy with that
Sure.
one?
Always.
Nice big
That
bench.
sounded great.
That was great. So we talked about the solution certification. We talked about them working with others. I asked some very tough questions that they handled brilliantly and gracefully. But I think we also got to the root of some of the things that we can do better right now. And the great thing is the technology can help us with that, and we can do better.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the whole root of all of this, right? I think everybody's trying to figure out how to do this and how to do it in a meaningful way. And there's different opinions, and there's different technologies, and there's different ways to do it. And what we're trying to do is create a language path to understand that in a meaningful way.
And we started this, in a community, and now every day we're growing that community. So I think the answer has always been we could do this together. And I'm so impressed with what's happening right now, and really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. We have a session on Thursday about the AP program. We have some really exciting announcements coming for that. But also we're bringing on 2 of the assessors to talk a little bit about what they've experienced in the last 2 years assessing buildings. And I don't think we understood kind of how cool that role is, because they get to see a bunch of buildings that do it from a different perspective in a different way, and learn from those, and at the same time have impact in their opinion. So join us on Thursday. It's at 4 o'clock Central European time. We hope to see you there, and talk to you soon. Bye.